Hello, greetings from the Outer Banks. I am turning 40 today and thought that it might be a good idea to share sort of some of the things and little lessons and nuggets that I've picked up over 40 years of life here. Life's a wild ride, and there's been some really amazing stuff and amazing things. I've had amazing opportunities and also gone through some pretty heavy shit as well. And I am just so incredibly grateful to be here, to be alive, to have the perspective that I have, to be where I'm at, be surrounded by the people that I'm surrounded by. And, anyways, I am really excited about what's to come. But I do want to share just kind of some of the things that I've learned in life. Maybe you might find it useful, valuable, or maybe not, but whatever. Hopefully, at least my daughter Ella will one day pick this up. So, first thing I learned is that family is everything, and that you need to find your people, and that's it. That's pretty much life right there. That's the most important thing. Obviously, everybody's family situation is different, so whatever family means to you, just understand it, cherish it, hold on to it, and cultivate the relationships in your life. Find friends that are willing to just kind of pick up where you left off. Everybody's running around living life, jobs, kids, the rest of it. And if you're able to find people that don't need a lot of maintenance and you could just kind of get together and realize that, anytime you get together, it's a freaking gift. Those are your people. So hang on to them. Next lesson. These are in no particular order, by the way. Everything is temporary. Every emotion, every feeling of dread and despair, every moment of bliss and elation is temporary. Every life, temporary. Every phase of life, temporary. Every relationship, temporary. Every job, every success, every failure, every technology. And once we realize the temporary nature of everything, we can convert that into presence, appreciation, and gratitude, knowing that nothing lasts. You're just able to really sort of live in the moment and appreciate it for what it is, because it won't last. And it's also helpful as a tool to work through hard times as well. When you're going through challenging times, you could put yourself in that mindset of being on the other side of it, because one day you will be. Not everything stays hard forever. Next lesson. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can try your damnedest, but you cannot make decisions for other people. You could scream, you can threaten, you can reason, you can debate, you can explain, you can beg. But at the end of the day, the other person and them alone are the ones that can make decisions for their own life. And once we recognize the limits of our influence and stop trying to change other people, once you said your piece, just let it go, and it will save you a lot of suffering and agony. Seek flow and get rid of context switching as much as you're able to. This is very much my kryptonite, but finding flow states, finding moments where you're in the zone and you lose track of time is such a beautiful thing, and is a really just strong signal that that's what you should be doing in life. Related to that, wake up excited and follow your energy. I've learned that there's this kind of brief window of time where you wake up and before you start thinking about your calendar and your schedule and what you got to get done for the day, there's this kind of pure moment where you wake up and you're excited about something, right? So that it might be a thing that you're eager to get into, a project that you're working on. You solve a puzzle in your head overnight. That often happens with coding and the rest of it, right? You go to sleep with a hard problem and you wake up excited to dig into it. I've learned to pay really close attention to those things that have me waking up excited. And I also think it's important to pay attention if you don't find yourself waking up excited about things, because that might be a signal that something needs to change. Create fun. My mom is second to none at creating fun and just really kind of turning just day-to-day things like running errands and going to the bank as a kid, like turning it into a fun adventure. And I'm so incredibly thankful for her instilling that sense of fun in me, especially now that I'm a dad. And I think that we could all use more smiling and laughter and fun in our lives. So really seek that out and find ways to make fun in your life. Having a kid really adds a new dimension to life that is really impossible to articulate. You could like kind of logically understand it, but it's only really through the experience of it that the gravity of it really hits you. I've found that having a kid just radically alters my priorities and my values for the better. And seeing things through Ella's eyes jolts me out of my own ego and my own little world, especially at the sort of ages where there's still just the sense of wonder. It's a freaking gift that we're all able to sort of see wonder through kids' eyes, and I think that we should do what we can to harness as much of that as possible. Don't go to bed angry. This is a piece of advice from Gramps, relationship advice, and really it boils down to just working through issues and not letting them linger with your spouse. I am so incredibly blessed to be married to Melissa for almost 15 years. In a few short weeks, we're going to be married for 15 years. And we've had an incredible life together, and we've experienced so many things, many of them, most of them really good. We've had so much fun and adventure and love and all of that. We've also really gone through some shit together as well. And anyways, like any couple, we go through ups and downs. But I think that really addressing things head on, that advice from Gramps, don't go to bed angry, is really sound advice. And I'm really thankful that now that Melissa's going to school to be a therapist, I feel like we have a language and are able to articulate a lot of the sort of emotional terrain that we all navigate. I found that that's been really helpful to be able to just kind of like talk about feelings and be able to articulate them and what's going on and what we need, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So harness that. Next lesson. There's no such thing as perfect. Everything is pros and cons. If you live here, it means you're not living a billion other places. If you're doing this job, it means you're not doing a billion other jobs. If you're working tirelessly for this important cause, that means you're not working on these other causes, right? There are limits to time and energy and our lives effectively. And there isn't something that's perfect. And I see a lot of people get wrapped up in that, sort of seeking out perfection, when in fact, there is no such thing, right? We make trade-offs all the time. And I think that the important part is to be eyes wide open with it and really just, check in with yourself and make sure that you're where you ought to be and that the pros outweigh the cons. Another lesson: play the hand you're dealt. Because really, we have no choice but to live our own lives and our own lives alone. We are not living somebody else's life. We are all, through birth and through experience, we all come to the party with our own burdens, with our own privileges, with our own whatever. And we could wish the burdens away. We can feel guilty about the privileges we have. But at the end of the day, you're still you, carrying it all with you. And it's important to just recognize that. And the question then becomes kind of, how do you make the most of life given where you're at? Burdens, privileges, and all. Gratitude, not guilt. So many people in my life suffer from pretty debilitating guilt, I will say. It's just, and it makes me really sad. I see guilt as wasted energy. It's just like burning off energy, just ambiently, anxiously into the ether. And I think that really converting guilt into gratitude has been such an important lesson. I think it's a healthier application of that, of energy. Back to the privileges in our lives. It's like, yeah, you could spend all day just feeling guilty about the good things in your life, or you can be incredibly grateful for it and use that as a vehicle to, utilize those privileges, right? Rather than just kind of shedding guilty energy. The natural world is awe-inspiring. No shocker here. Nature is amazing. It's been here for billions and billions of years, and it will be here long after we're gone. It humbles us. It instills awe in us, and it reminds us of our place in the grand scheme of things. So look up at the stars, attune yourself to the rhythm of the ocean, hug a tree, connect with a mountain, and just kind of be present with nature. It's an extraordinary experience to just connect and realize that we're all the same. We are nature and nature is us. It's incredible. Travel expands your world. I've been so incredibly fortunate to travel all over the world. By way of my work, I've spoken in over 30 countries across 6 continents, and it is so incredibly cool to travel to the other side of the world and meet up with people who dig what I dig, who do the kind of work that I do, who are sort of fretting about the same sort of crap that I'm fretting about. And that ability to connect with people wherever you go is just the most powerful thing, because people are amazing. They truly are. I truly believe that. And I've had such amazing experiences being in China, where we can't speak a word to each other, but we are able to share a human connection and even share meals together, despite not being able to actively communicate. But I firmly believe that everyone genuinely just wants to live a good life. They want happiness for themselves and the people in their lives. They want peace. They want to just live life and have fun and just lead a positive life. Like, obviously that's not a blanket statement, because there's a lot of shitty people out there as well, but like, by and large, people are amazing. People aren't their governments. That old phrase, like, that's 100% true. And I think that just traveling really opens our worlds, especially to the fact that just there are many versions. There's many ways to get things done and do things, and things aren't better or worse. They're just different. And once we realize that there's not this kind of competitive or this is right and wrong, it's just different, and the context and the culture matters. Music is one of the most powerful forces in the world. Um, Man, I've played music the majority of my life, and I've went from music is a lot of fun to play to music is one of the most potent and powerful forces in the universe. Uh, I like to think of it like how language is kind of similar to the visible light spectrum, right? If you're familiar with the visible light spectrum, what we see is this super, super narrow slice in the grand scheme of the whole electromagnetic spectrum, right? X-rays, gamma rays, all that stuff. And so it's like what we see is so incredibly, it's a sliver, right? And verbal and written communication is like that to me. As it's one way of connection and communication, but music is this wholly different thing that really introduces us to the broader spectrum of human connection and communication. And I've really like embraced the fact that music is such a powerful force, and which is why I'm so excited to be wielding music for all sorts of good reasons. Next lesson. One of life's biggest challenges is to balance your own personal happiness with your responsibility to others and the world at large. This is probably the biggest thing that I struggle with. Every day we are confronted with the ills of the world, especially now that technology has made the world a lot smaller. All of the world's problems are a lot closer to us. I've seen friends and loved ones get swallowed whole by the despair and just dread and hopelessness that comes with just kind of letting all of that stuff in. Uh, and it's really tricky, though, because we need to establish borders and boundaries, to not have it totally eat us alive. But at the same time, we don't want to be a callous asshole, right? So how do we balance our own personal happiness and tranquility, living a good life, taking advantage of the great things that our personal lives have to offer with our responsibility to the broader world? How can we be happy when there's suffering in the world and we know it? What's our responsibility to the world? What's our responsibility to our family, right? Are those at odds? And they are at times, right? So it's tricky. I don't have the answer to that one, so anyone feel free to tell me the answer. That'd be very helpful. Thank you. Happiness and tranquility are two separate things. Happiness is an emotion we all feel. It's situational, it's circumstantial. Today's my birthday. I'm quite happy today. It's great. But tranquility is this deeper and more lasting feeling of contentment and satisfaction. A lot of times when people are saying, like, I want to be happy, what they're really seeking is tranquility. It's not realistic to be happy all the time. You got to pay your taxes. You got to do just crappy things, get parking tickets, right? That's life, right? But it is realistic, and I think accomplishable to work towards achieving a deeper tranquility and satisfaction in life. And I think that's the real thing to shoot for. Live authentically. Life's too short to live somebody else's life, and it's really challenging, though, because society kind of sets up these boxes and these parameters, and we contort ourselves and we try to fit ourselves into these small boxes. But we are our whole selves, right? Your interest in cross stitching is relevant and can be relevant to your job as a programmer or whatever. But I think that I really want to encourage people to show up more as their full selves and just look for opportunities to show up as your full self to more places. I think that it leads to a richer life, and it enriches the lives of the people around you as well. We don't have to be in these sort of narrow, compartmentalized boxes. Human potential. I firmly, utterly, completely believe that we are capable of a lot more than we give ourselves credit for. I get really disheartened whenever I see people talk themselves out of things. We're more than our jobs, than our hobbies, than our relationships to other people. Like, there's only one of you, and you have amazing gifts, amazing things to offer the world. And I think that it's important to follow the things that are in your head that you know you should be doing, right? It's like those ideas in your head, pursue them. Like, you'll be surprised at how attainable these things can be. Don't talk yourself out of this stuff. The Element is where your passions meet your aptitudes. The Element was a book by Ken Robinson, probably one of the most important books I ever read. Um, I think that it really sort of speaks to the heart of what it means to sort of move through life, blending what you're passionate about and what you're good at. I think a lot of people are quite skilled and become quite skilled at many things, but their heart isn't in it. And next thing you know, you're 15 years into a career or something that you're good at, but you don't feel, passionate about. So seek ways of getting into your element and finding that sort of natural sweet spot between your passions and what you're good at. Next thing related to that is, my mom's an art teacher, my dad is an accountant, and I feel like my brain straddles the line between those two worlds. That's kind of where I feel like I'm in my element, is where I'm able to be creative, but also be logical and, sort of invent things, but also sort of solve problems. It's not like a, pure art or pure science thing. Is kind of this blend of the two. Is probably why I ended up in web design. It's why I love nerding out about design system stuff, and also why planning a big ass concert, but meticulously planning it with a bunch of spreadsheets and stuff. All right, next lesson. We all experience seasons in life, and our goals and priorities and perspectives all change based on the season of life that we're in. Maybe you're in a season where you need to focus on personal healing. Maybe you're in a season where you need to earn as much money as possible. Maybe you're in a season where you're raising kids while also taking care of your family and your aging parents or something like that, right? Maybe there's a season to take more risks or less risks. I've found that this framing, shout out to Aaron Walter. I think I heard him say it on a podcast once. But that seasons of life framing has really helped me think about my actions and roles and priorities as more contextual, rather than like a rigid, like, this is who you are and this is, you got to get it right because it's with you forever. It's like we're giving ourselves more permission to sort of roll with the changes, because life will continue to change. A lot of people reach out to me and ask for advice, which is wild. Job advice. Should I take this job? Should I go freelance? Should I, what technology should I learn? Et cetera, which is an honor that people ask me for this advice. My advice to them when I get asked this stuff, and which holds true for, I think, all of us, is do more of what you want to do and less of what you don't want to do. And it's really, I think, that simple. It's like, we want to be doing more of what we enjoy and less of what we don't enjoy. Again, everything's pros and cons. Melissa read a book at some point and relayed that there's a line in it that said something along the lines of, every job has a shit sandwich that you have no choice but to just sort of suck up and eat. And I think about that all the time because, again, there's no such thing as perfect and everything's pros and cons. But at the same time, like, we should be moving towards more of the things that energize us and excite us, and move away from the more sort of tedious and boring things. And that framing helps us make decisions on what technology do we want to learn. I don't know. Do you like React? Like, do you think you might like React or something? Do you want to move away from that? Is this fun, hard, boring, easy, tedious, etc.? And I think a lot of that like boils down to just really kind of knowing yourself, which is, know thyself is old advice, but it's good advice. I had the opportunity to give a commencement speech at my old high school, and in it I kind of talked about how important it is for us to really grasp onto and understand why we enjoy doing the things we do, because the what we do is going to be changing all the time, right? So why do you like doing jigsaw puzzles? Why do you like being out and about with your friends on a Friday night? Why do you like, connecting in this certain way? Like, why do you like the hobbies you like, right? Sort of digging at that below the surface helps you understand your sort of natural tendencies, which is really important in a world that's, holy shit, is just changing all the time, right? So knowing what it is that how you're programmed effectively will help you navigate that world a lot easier. Okay, next lesson. Collaboration is a hell of a lot better and a lot more fun than competition. I firmly believe that very few things in life are actually zero-sum endeavors. I think that most things can be win-win situations, and I think even beyond that, win-win-win-win-win-win-win situations. It just requires a fundamentally different attitude than I am right and I must win. We are all on this planet together, and we need to figure out how to make all of this work. And I think that the more we're able to lean into collaboration, the better chance we have at actually addressing the gnarly issues that face the world. One dream I have is just like, man, every political conversation should begin with finding shared values, where finding moments of agreement and starting from there, right? Because if you walk it down, right, behind many issues and stuff, like, are shared human values that we could all agree on. We want people to be healthy. We want people to be safe. We want people to whatever. How we accomplish that tactically is different. But like, I think that we need to be more explicit about sort of finding common ground before we start arguing and deviating and competing to try to win. Okay. Speaking of collaboration, the web is freaking amazing. Truly and utterly amazing. I think despite everything that's gone down, and we've now seen the real perils and undersides and downsides that this technology has kind of unleashed upon the world, despite all of that, the promise and the ideals of the web are still there. I think that it is an incredible medium that has facilitated collaboration at a scale and rate that the world has never seen. And I think that we have a tremendous opportunity to use the web and lean into that, and for us that work on the web to sort of model a collaborative and cooperative mentality in order to make the world better. It's truly stunning. My pinned Twitter tweet is, work hard, don't be an asshole, share what you know. Kind of that simple, although the work hard part, it's like, don't work too hard. Okay. Your health is critical. No surprise here. Taking care of ourselves is hard, and we need to prioritize it. Now that I'm 40, I'm looking forward to the time to run a half marathon midlife crisis part of me to kick in. Even though health is really important, ice cream is amazing, and life's too short to deprive yourself of delicious ice cream. So in moderation, right? Everything in moderation. The mind and the body are connected. For anyone that says it's all in your head is connected to your body. And man, you learn the hard way that, your mental state manifests itself in your physical body, and your physical body state impacts and influences how you're thinking. So incredibly important to recognize that mind-body connection. And I think at an individual level as well as a societal level, we have to treat health holistically and really address things from a mind, body, and spirit perspective. Expand your mind. Look for ways to expand your mind and challenge your worldview, challenge your perspective, change your perspective on things. There's a lot of different vehicles for this: nature, travel, music, experience, psychedelics, conversation, therapy, meditation, service, church, fostering relationships. Like, all of these are tools that can help you expand your mind. And this is, I don't pretend to have everything figured out in life, but I do know that I'm going to continue to grow and evolve for as long as I live, right? Like, that's, I desperately want to avoid calcification of my thoughts in my perspectives on things, because that's not fun. There's always new things to learn. We could always get better. We could always become more, compassionate. We could always we could grow. We can grow. So react to challenges to your worldview. This is hard to do, but react to challenges to your worldview with curiosity rather than defensiveness. And it's hard work, but at the same time, it's worth it. You end up learning a lot more when you lean in with curiosity rather than immediately circling the wagons and trying to defend your perspective. Let's talk about God. I think that everyone has their own interpretation of God, and no one has all the answers. And I think that if anybody says they do have all the answers, they're full of shit. We have no choice but to bring our own experience, our own context, our own life, our own world to these big questions, right? Like, where you're raised, what experiences you've had, like, all of that influences these huge questions. And so what I've kind of taken to is, like, taking a step back from, trying to sort out the big problems, the big questions in life. I don't think that we'll ever find the answers to them, but I do know that people's belief, or how they think about these things, influence how they exist in the world. And I think that some people use God to foster connection and community and make the world a better place, and other people use God as a tool to discriminate, judge, and repress and kill. And so we can't equate kind of God and morality. Like, they're different planes. And I also firmly believe that things like awe and wonder and transcendence and empathy and compassion and community are not exclusive to organized religion, even though they, a lot of times that they claim to corner the market on that. But these experiences, these feelings of elation, of transcendence, of connection are available to all of us. And again, if people find that stuff in organized religion, awesome. Very, very happy about that. But know that it's available to all of us. Next one, create and cherish traditions. I am recording this from the Outer Banks. Somebody's mowing the lawn. Uh, okay. Uh, I've spent every birthday since I've been alive here at the Outer Banks, which is truly an extraordinary tradition. I've never really taken it for granted, but at the same time, with each passing year, I just realize like what an absolute gift it is to have these traditions, as well as the other traditions in my life. You know, just even getting together for birthdays and sharing meals and Christmas and the rest of it. Find that in your life, whatever those things might be, because it's amazing, right? And again, everything's temporary, so it's just like if you're able to show up next year and do that same thing and have this predictable and stable tradition, that's freaking amazing. Next thing, create something that didn't exist before. Creating something that didn't exist before, I think, is one of life's biggest satisfactions. It's like the best drug is manifesting something in the world, is taking something from your head out into the physical world or digital world, whatever, but just taking it out of the head and executing it is man, what a cool, it's a freaking miracle. Many animals, I think, experience and exhibit creativity, but I think that like our level of creativity and invention is I think really something else. That's what has me just awestruck by just human life. Like we are able to invent things out of thin air. It's pretty amazing. Next thing, the pursuit of boredom. Our family's motto has always long been never a dull moment, and usually we don't say that in a positive light. Usually it's just like we're just kind of running around like crazy, or there's just like a bunch of fires to put out. And I think that as time goes on, we're really like looking for ways to be bored. and to just sort of like slow down and I think be present. And I know that my wife wants that, and a lot of times I'm the one with my foot on the accelerator, and so we're working on it. But it is, you know, it's just kind of seeking out calm and dull moments, and rest is really important, right? Okay, next one. Your Money or Your Life is probably one of the other most important books that I've ever read in my life. And Vicki Robbins, who wrote it, said it quite well, is that money is something you exchange your life energy for, right? You wake up and you exchange your life energy for money. And what you're doing with money is up to you. And I think as time has gone on, I've realized that money is a tool that can be wielded to make a lot of really great things happen. I think that it is pursuing money for its own sake is just myopic and silly and not particularly well considered. But once you realize it's like, oh, okay, money can be a tool to accomplish these things. It helps frame things in a more positive light. And related to that, I think that like overwhelmingly, after going through years and years of shit, coming out the other end of it, I really value stability so much. And again, money is a tool for accomplishing stability. Maintaining my dwelling, my house, and taking care of myself, my mind, my body, my spirit. Like finding ways to find stability in a very sort of unstable world is important. That sort of groundedness can be really, really helpful. Another lesson, humans crave both routine and novelty, and sometimes simultaneously, which is really weird. where it's like we want the predictability and comfort of routine, but we also seek out unique places, people, and things. And I just have found that to recognize that phenomenon. Just there's this just kind of inherent tension between, yes, I want to wake up in my own bed, but I also want to travel the world and see all the sights. Um, hey, um, Next one is, boy, do I love me some good conversation. I find myself easily bored and frustrated by surface level conversations. I think that everyone is walking around living their own rich lives, and I want to learn about those, and that's why I hate talking about the weather and just kind of like whatever small talk. As my daughter is getting into sort of being a school age, it's really frustrating to meet all of these parents and stuff, and like the conversations are just surface level, and I'm like, no, give me the meat, give me the meaty substantive conversations, because we've all just endured a pandemic and like you know what I mean? So this is my invitation to you. Whenever you see me, just dig into the meaty stuff with me. I'm here for it. Next one, time is weird, moves fast and slow. Having a kid versus adult time is way different. 5 years in adult time is like, oh yeah, I have a few more gray hairs. And having a kid, it's like, oh, here's a wholly developed human being. It's crazy. All right, and the last thing, we made it. Meaning of life stuff. Given all of this, I think a lot of this kind of falls into meaning of life type shit. And here's where I've landed. I think finding purpose and happiness and fulfillment in the things you do. Try to make the world and life better for yourself and those in your life and the world at large. Build and sustain meaningful relationships with the people you care about. Enjoy music, have fun, eat ice cream. So that's where I've landed after 40 years of life, and I felt the need to barf all of that out, and I hope that maybe it's useful, maybe it isn't, but in any case, it's helpful for me to get these things off my chest. And look forward to stay tuned for my forthcoming article, 80 Thoughts at 80. All right, take care all, bye.